Hey, what's up, Penn Nation? Kinch here, writing contributor for BJPenn.com. I recently got a chance to sit down with UFC middleweight Filthy Tom Lawlor and discuss his win over Jason McDonald, his money troubles, and his move to a new camp at Tim Burrell Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Providence, Rhode Island. Check it out. And Tom's coming off of a big win against Jason McDonald, knockout of the night honors. So Tom, tell us a little bit about that. I know you mentioned to Ariel Helwani that you had some little bit of money issues going into that fight, and that bonus helped you out big time?
Yeah, I didn't really budget my money correctly when I moved up here to Rhode Island, and basically after a year plus of not working, it kind of took a toll on me. I was so excited during the interview with Ariel and some of the other interviews. I forgot that I had fought in November and cashed a check then, but it was like a $12,000 check, so it's not the biggest, and once you factor in training costs and everything else, it doesn't leave a whole lot after the fight. So yeah, the win bonus was more important to me than the KO bonus, but getting that extra $40,000 definitely helped out a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, talk to us about switching camps. I know you came from Florida, Boca Raton?
I was in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, it was Orlando.
Orlando, yeah, I was in Orlando, Florida. Basically, I moved. I got a really good real estate deal here in Providence. Wanted to be closer to family, and I had been out of the area for about 15 years. And I decided, while I had the resources, I was going to go ahead and make a move. And I bought a place cash, so it's not like I was broke and I was homeless and living outside of a cardboard box. I own a home, I own a few vehicles, so it's not like I'm totally down on my luck, but coming up here and switching camps and going through the whole moving process really took a toll on me. Luckily, I've been able to find a great group of guys up here and groups of guys to train with that have helped me a lot and helped me improve my game. And
I saw, for instance, Mike Campbell was here earlier.
Yeah, WC veteran Mike Campbell trains here. There's a lot of guys, local guys in the area come here regularly, and there's guys that'll stop in a couple times a week because they understand how good of an instructor Tim is. Yeah. And I also train with the guys at Lausanne MMA and at Triforce MMA here in Rhode Island as well. So I've got a broad spectrum of training partners, and there's no lack of good guys up here in New England.
Now, I actually had to Google Genki Sudo. I know this is sad, but I had to Google Genki Sudo, and me and all my friends, I know a lot of fans, we all appreciate the fact that you pay homage to the old fighters, the guys that paved the way for fighters like yourself. Talk to us a little bit about that. What makes you do that?
Nothing makes me do it, I guess, except for the fact that at this point I've kind of like typecasted myself into it. People are, now people are expecting me to come out in different costumes and come out at the weigh-ins doing something. And, I guess if it's kept me with a job this long, I'll continue to do it. But I'm a huge fan of MMA. I was a fan first before I was a fighter. And I don't know if a lot of fighters could say the same for themselves. Now, especially with more money coming in the sport, with it getting more popular, some guys that are good athletes might just do it just because it's a payday. It's something they can do. But I feel like I'm one of the guys that does MMA because they love it. They love watching it, they love being involved in it, and that's why I come out to the weigh-ins dressed as some of the different guys from the past.
Tell us what you're looking to do next.
Right now, I'm looking to enjoy myself for about another week or so. I'm already back in training, so I took a week off, which I think is about the longest time I've taken off in a couple years. Barred from being injured. But even then, I've gotten injured a few times, and I was still able to train a little bit. So I think that, taking a little bit more time off, maybe for the next week, really take it light and then jump back into it. Full steam ahead. I came out of the fight uninjured. So, I've been looking at the roster and the upcoming cards and trying to see who doesn't have a fight coming up, who would fit in for me to fight in, as far as scheduling goes. And right now it's kind of hard to pick and choose exactly what's going on. Some of the guys who I had thought would be open for fights are already booked at this point. So I'm looking at probably late summer or early September or one of the shows in September. So late summer, early spring, unless somebody gets injured on a show, and then I'm always in shape. Yeah. Pretty much. And,
you were mentioning, you're not a fan of a big layoff. You like to stay active.
Yeah, I think there's so many things in the MMA game that people have to take into account. That I just try to be better at basically everything that I can be before each fight.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that you have to focus on, and I just don't have the time to take time off.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep. I'm sure everybody wants to know. You have a sweet nickname. How did that come about?
A lot of eating garbage, a lot of not showering, a lot of sweating.
So you're just the stinky guy in the gym or something, or?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm sure if you asked any of the guys that I train with, they could tell you I'm probably the stinkiest, probably the sweatiest. I'm also one of the better looking.
I will say I've always been a fan of the mutton chops.
Yeah, it's a very strange paradox that somebody as very as attractive as me is also known for not having good hygiene. So I'm kind of an enigma in a way.
Oh man. So so you have nothing in the pipeline now. Let's talk a little bit about current events. What do you think about this NSAC therapeutic use exemption for PEDs?
Well,
I know it's a big can of worms.
Personally, I don't agree with it. No, it's not that big of a can of worms for me. I don't agree with it. If there's been a bunch of stuff that happened in your life and you get to the point where your testosterone levels are low and they're not what they should be compared to a normal male, I don't necessarily think that you should get a pass for that.
Yeah.
And be able to get
testosterone
replacement. Exactly. People were finding the same problem in golf with Tiger Woods because he was having corrective surgery on his eyes to make his eyesight better.
Yep.
To me, obviously they're not the same sport, but what Tiger Woods did isn't as harmful because he's not hitting someone.
Yep.
He's playing against himself.
Yeah, but it's still an advantage.
It's still an advantage. These guys are getting their testosterone levels back up to what's considered normal or for a 25-year-old male. But I think I'm slow as far as an athlete goes. Like technically, I'm pretty slow. So why can't I just take a bunch of speed and PCP and go fight? So I'm moving at a faster pace. Why don't they let me do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote a piece about it. What bothered me was how easy it seems to be able to get.
Sorry, that's my long guy.
All right. Yeah, but I wrote a piece about it, and what bothered me was the fact that I did some research, and it seems like it's pretty easy to get testosterone replacement, and I don't question the NSAC by any means, but I just feel like a lot of fighters are going to start lining up at the doors of these aging clinics and trying to get the one up on the opponent.
Yeah, the only thing that I could see them, the only way. If you're going to allow that, the only way to make it fair is just you got to make sure everybody has like the same testosterone level somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how they could do that.
Yeah, I know, and that's one thing I mentioned too is that you need to they need to heavily regulate the levels. Each appointment, these guys should be subjected to random drug testing throughout the year to make sure their levels are maintained.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of it too, if you're taking stuff, then it allows you to recover faster.
Yeah.
So you can put in more training time during the year, whereas if you're you have to worry about recovery more. You have to worry about being beat up more. You can't put in the same effort into some of the training sessions. So not only when you get in there to fight, if you have the elevated levels, it's a problem, but also, during the rest of the year, it kind of gives you an unfair advantage, even if you're just in the gym.
Yep, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. How much weight do you usually cut in the training camp?
This past fight, I showed up at the UFC facilities. I was I was actually 13 pounds over. Weighed in at 199, which is the lightest I've ever showed up for a fight. So that was the easiest cut I've had. And then right now I'm back up to about 215. So somewhere around there. Yeah, but most of it's beer weight. I enjoy fine craft brews from the Northeast.
So Tom, we discussed that you don't have a fight a fight scheduled, no opponent determined yet. But what are you looking for in your next fight? Are you looking for a top 10 guy or?
To be honest, I'm looking for whoever's going to provide me with the easiest win. I'd rather fight a guy who's 0-30 than a guy that's 30-0. Because, I mean, the recognition's good, but right now, I beat Jason McDonald, who a lot of people know of because he's had a good long career in the UFC. But he's probably middle of the pack, maybe a little bit lower as far as the competition goes. I felt really good in my fights up until the loss I had to Chris Weidman. That one kind of set me back a little bit. So I'd like to keep working my way up the ladder instead of jumping right back into one of the top guys.
Yeah, it makes sense. Just build on the skills as you go.
Yeah, if I could fight like a paraplegic midget, if the UFC could find a 185-pound paraplegic midget, I'd take that fight. Did you see the
amputee hit that heel hook on Inside MMA a couple weeks ago?
Are you talking about Nick Newell?
I think yes. I think that's his name.
He's actually from Springfield.
Really?
He's from Massachusetts.
Wow, that is awesome.
So he's kind of a local guy. Actually, I didn't see that fight, but I know that he's very skilled. I don't want to fight him. I mean a guy with
no arms or legs.
Yeah, no arms and no legs.
Okay, you can just kind of just roll him around the cage.
Yeah, it would be tough to submit him, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe a guillotine, maybe not, but definitely ground and pound. I'd be looking to finish that fight with.
Very good. Now, so I think we've pretty much covered everything here. Is there anything you want to plug? Some sponsors, maybe, or I mean, I know we've plugged Tim Burrell Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here. Anything you want to say to the fans?
Tim himself, he's been working out a lot. He's been getting into good shape.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the ladies, or maybe even some of the guys, would be looking to plug him pretty soon. I wish we could get a good picture of him in a nice outfit.
We'll put it in the post. Put it in the post.
No, I mean, my sponsors for my last fight, The Throne, gave me some great stuff, and their clothes aren't real douchey, so that's always a plus as far as MMA.
Yeah, how do you feel? How do you feel about that? I think that clothing there's too much going on nowadays. They're just putting way too many designs all over the clothes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a one logo man. I just want my shirt to say something, and that's it.
Yeah, I like. And actually, this is gonna sound kind of like a shill move, but the stuff that the UFC's kind of moved towards, as far as their clothing brands go, I think is a lot better than 4 years ago when they were putting out shirts and it had skulls on it and stuff like that. Now that they've kind of streamlined to like a more sporty kind of look and a more sporty logo, and I'm a bigger fan of that.
Yeah. Can you give us any insight into the next weigh-in costume that you're gonna do?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I could.
You could.
Would you like me to? Don't ask another question. You already said one.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already got the weigh-in costume planned, but I'm not going to tell anybody what it is.
Okay.
But it's not going to be a past MMA guy. I'm sure a lot of MMA fans will get it if they spend way too much time on the internet.
Okay.
But if you don't spend too much time on the internet, you probably won't understand it unless you have one of the most amazing memories of all time.
Okay.
But it comes from pro wrestling. I'll just say that instead. So I'll give a little bit of a hint, not too much. As far as a walkout goes for the fight, no clue. It could depend on where I'm fighting, who I'm fighting against. If I have a horrible disfiguring accident before then and my face is burnt, maybe I would come out with a different motif. So there's no telling what's going to happen for the walkout. But for the weigh-in, I've already got something planned.
Okay.
That wouldn't be bothered if I was in a horrible burning accident or something. I'd still be okay to wear this costume.
Well, I certainly hope you don't.
As do I.
Your new Rhode Island home does not burn down or anything like that.
That's true. I do have insurance on the building, so I'll be okay.
Very good. Hope
if it burns down, I did not plan that, so I'm not trying to collect money.
This is on record.
Yeah, I can guarantee you, I'm not trying to burn my house down.
Thanks for watching, guys and gals. For the latest news in UFC and mixed martial arts, BJPenn.com has got you covered.